Alright. Definitely got a lot more information about him, which is cool. One more companion to talk to. Marazhai, where were you? Or Marazhai. Marazhai Aezyrraesh stares down at you from his formidable height, his head slightly tilted to one side. The lean, wiry xenos is encased in black armor. Not even a sliver of a gap has been left between the tightly fitting plates, which bristle with mutely gleaming barbs and hooks. Set in a white face, striated with crimson tattoos, dark eyes devour you, burning with predatory, malevolent interest. I want to know what happened before you took me to Komorrah, what happened to you after the trial. When given the chance to join me, you took it readily. That surprised me. Tell me about Komorrah. Any thoughts on how we can escape this place? Yeah, what happened before you took me to Komorrah?
You want to know how and to what end I orchestrated all of this? Ask your questions.
Marazhai narrows one eye. Why did you kidnap me?
When Aezyrraesh ordered us to lay waste to the monkey settlements, Tazara and I encountered resistance. I have hunted your kin too long not to notice how well you in particular were fending off our attacks. The rout in Tazara's arena, the appearance at the plundered vessel. Your kind are usually powerless against us, but not on that occasion. I began to suspect that you could not have managed it without outside help. Help from our side.
Yeah, so this is where things get confusing to me. Assuming Aezyrraesh is telling the truth. Because the claim, we know that we got our information of where to go from Achilles. Aezyrraesh is claiming that Achilles got his information from working with Marazhai. Marazhai is saying that he has no idea how we got our information. Clearly there's someone lying amongst this group, and the most likely one, as much as I don't want to say it, is Aezyrraesh lying about Achilles, or at least misunderstanding the circumstance with Achilles.
I began sending out spies and assassins. My eyes and ears infiltrated your vessel, your cities, and they discovered a trail that led back to one of your worlds. A trail that ended with a burned monkey, the source of the information about where and when my cabal was going to strike. A little trickery to draw you away from the planet. And I had your little informant in my grasp.
Marazhai waves his hand. Okay, so he did figure out it was Achilles.
How the information was reaching his agents, the burned monkey himself did not even know. But based on the units involved and other details, it was clear. No monkey in real space could have gathered such specifics about raid complements and objectives. No, it was inconceivable. The information was being fed to you by my own kind, and I knew who. Aezyrraesh, Archon of the Reaving Tempest, my former mistress. A cowardly bitch who punishes anyone who threatens her grip on power. I knew that to win a war against her, I would need the support of the Reaving Tempest's patron, the Cabal of the Black Heart. So I allied with Aezyrraesh, who presided over the trial. I promised him that Aezyrraesh would be humiliated. I promised him evidence. A lowly monkey that would disgrace Aezyrraesh in the eyes of the Archons. For that performance, I needed you.
And then we resisted. Alright, so he knew Achilles was our source, but he couldn't figure out how Achilles got his information. But somehow he believed it was Aezyrraesh. But no statement of how he determined who. And it's weird to me that Achilles was getting his information, at least through a chain, from Eurymerus, and not... Are we to believe that he didn't realize his information was originally coming from a Dark Eldar? And why was a Dark Eldar working with Achilles just to make him look bad? That seems like a very roundabout plan. You have spies aboard my ship.
Of course. If I'm not mistaken, you met the infiltrator yourself. A Cabalite who left a lava from Tavantius in one of the Monkey. Or did you never work out the reason for the treachery during the raid on your ship so long ago now? Then there is no need for me to mention the sleeper agents hidden on your worlds.
Marazhai's mouth widens into a wicked smile. Yeah, we certainly learned about that one, but we suspected there could be other sleeper agents. And he's claiming there are somewhere. What agreement did you make with Aezyrraesh?
Overthrowing an Archon is far from easy, even one who has already tarnished her reputation. Every member of a Cabal has their supporters, and Eurymerus is no exception. Aezyrraesh promised me a sham trial in the Obsidian Court with a predetermined outcome. Eurymerus should have been convicted and dethroned. I was supposed to take her place and turn the Reaving Tempest into a loyal vassal of the Black Heart.
Okay, so the Reaving Tempest and the Black Heart were roughly equivalent organizations. Eurymerus turned against him as a member of the Reaving Tempest, and so he decided to work with the Black Heart to take her place, but then move the clan down to being a vassal of the Black Heart. Which seems bad for everyone else in the Black Heart, but good for him if it had worked out.
Aezyrraesh was supposed to be the axe that fell on her neck, but it fell on mine instead. It was devious and worthy of praise, but why? A secret pact with Eurymerus, or is there another reason? I will tear the answer from his throat along with his final breath.
Yeah, so the Archon of the other organization that he decided to join hadn't rigged the trial fully or sufficiently enough to actually get Eurymerus dethroned. Is that we just resisted too hard? Or did Aezyrraesh actually betray him? Currently don't know.
It must be said that Aezyrraesh did not have to try very hard to turn the court against me. Not after the stunt you pulled before the assembled Archons.
The Drakari tosses a hate-filled look at you. Yeah. The tribunal, what was that about? I was being tried by the Inquisitor, and Heinrichs and Theodore were there? Why? Yeah. What was that?
I have no idea what you saw in your stupor. The homunculus's creature does not elicit specific images. It muddles your mind, forcing it to paint suitable pictures evoking confusion or fear. Neither Tavantius nor I care about fussy monkey rituals. The lava must have created a suitable environment for you. One in which you would be more willing to answer my questions in the Obsidian Court.
Okay. So they had no control over what we saw, just that it would put us into a situation where we would be afraid and willing to answer questions, which, you know, being thrown in front of the Inquisitor and the Rogue Trader would usually be a good perspective, except that we were aware it was wrong and have the willpower to resist that. What were you and Tazara doing in my protectorate?
What do any of my kind do in real space? We were reaping, Kamara was clamoring for meat. The Dark City had suffered losses in the latest disjunction. We needed sources of sweet pain to prime its minds and bodies. When the Archon bade my cabal collect the harvest from the region, I did not suspect that it would turn into this game between you and me.
I consider it less of a game than you do. I'm just trying to protect my protectorate. You and Irliet conspiring together, how did that come about?
Conspiring? No. There was no plot between us. She merely rushed to my bait. At first, I planned to use the one you trusted, the burned monkey with whom we had spent long hours awaiting your arrival. But my cousin was so swift. Afterward, she tracked down the monkey, killed him, and took the device that he had been using to contact me.
So they did actually manage to corrupt him and get him ready to work with them. Again, there's the possibility Heinrich is telling the truth, that Achilles... Yeah. Heinrich could be right, and this could be a lie that he and Irliet fabricated to make Achilles look like the guilty party. But that's... I guess that's the answer to the question I've been having of, if Achilles was working with him, then why did he not know that we were getting our information? No, Achilles was somehow getting information from Eurymerus. We still have no idea how that was happening. And it was only after he got to Dargonus, captured Achilles and tortured him for a while, and then convinced him to lead us into a trap. That's when Achilles finally turned. And so it was basically right at that moment, after Achilles had finally agreed to work with them against us and the Inquisition, that Irliet showed up and killed him instantly. Okay.
I planted the first poisoned seeds in her soul back at our first meeting. I dropped a hint that I knew what had become of her world. I lured her in and left her with you. Time took care of the rest. That and an unpleasant discovery aboard your own ship.
The chunk from the craft world that's in our throne room. Or our office, not really throne room, whatever.
I did not ask her to hand you over to me. No, doing that would have made my poor cousin doubt herself even more than she was already. I simply told her where to seek out the traces of her craft world and the answers to her questions. A favor for a kinswoman, nothing more. And then I made ready for your arrival. For the only way she would reach that place was with you.
Yep. I cannot believe that Achilles betrayed humanity.
When a monkey is left alone with me and my art of pain, I plunge them into a deep well of suffering from which they will do anything to escape. Your kind have fragile souls. Your convictions and principles are a delusion that lends a mirage of meaning to your lives. Achilles and I had plenty of time alone together before your arrival. When he went out to meet you, he was already mine. I bought his loyalty with a promise to never touch his body or his mind ever again.
Marazhai's face breaks into a smile. Yeah, you're terrible. So... yeah, he just tortured Achilles until eventually he broke and was willing to serve him just to make the pain stop. Which you would think a respected, reasonably high-ranking member of the Inquisition would be better at resisting that. But I don't know how exactly high-ranking he was or how long he'd been in the Inquisition. Because obviously he's not part of the Inquisitor's retinue himself. He was the Inquisitor's interrogator's advisor, which is several ranks down. But still, what do you know about Irliot's craft world? It'd be funny if he doesn't actually know anything. Ah.
I know it exists. I know that my cabal found it, helpless and stationary, unable to protect its sons and daughters. I know that Irliot's kin began showing up as prisoners in the Reaving Tempest's spire, where they were fonts of exquisite, delightful pain. I spent too much time beyond the limits of our home to learn more than that. But that was enough to tempt Irliot with false hope.
Yeah, so you had no intention of helping Irliot? Of course not. Why? Why would we think he actually wanted to help her? He might help her now that we're kind of theoretically maybe on the same side, or at least temporarily working together. But he doesn't really see her as kin or family or whatever. She's just a tiny, minor step above humans. Monkey. Because at least she's Eldari. So you had no intention of helping Irliot. Yeah. Yep.
Why do you say that? I promised to reunite her with her kin. A long-awaited reunion in a torture chamber. I find that very touching. They would have had so much to discuss. But there would have been time for fun as well. We cousins get together so rarely, after all.
That was a very well done voice line as well. I approve. But Marazhai laughs long and deeply. Yes, he did. Tell the truth now.
We've already had words. I have no reason to conceal the truth now. Irliot has outlived her usefulness to me. Watching her face as she learned the truth was priceless.
Yeah, you really are a monster, and I can't think of a reason long-term I would want you on my team. Which makes me feel bad, but I guess when I get out of this conversation, he probably shows up in my party, and I can check where he falls on the dogmatic, iconoclast, heretical, and it would not surprise me if he shows up as strongly heretical. What were those creatures with you when you captured me?
Mandrakes. A foul breed that lurks in the bowels of Camorra. Their ability to find paths through the shadows was put to good use. I promised them forbidden trophies from the Reaving Tempest's coffers once I am Archon.
Marazhai hesitates and then gestures to indicate that he has finished speaking. So, yeah, that's a promise you can't fulfill. You made a promise to the mandrakes that you cannot keep. Aren't you afraid of retribution? I guess I don't know how dangerous a couple of mandrakes are to a Drukhari. Like, is it a problem if he can't fulfill it? You made a promise to mandrakes that you cannot keep. Aren't you afraid of retribution?
Let them come for what they're owed. They will regret it.
The Drukhari scoffs. Despite his self-assured words, concern brings a furrow to Marazhai's brow. The theft of Rykad's son, was that your doing? He already told us it wasn't. Which he might have been lying, but he seemed to be honest about it. That's not to say it's not something done by other Drukhari, because we're pretty sure it is. But I don't think it was directly him. The theft of Rykad's son, was that your doing?
Did you not hear me when I answered you the first time? I do not like to repeat myself.
Yeah, okay. That is enough for now.
Then what else do you need?
Oh, I didn't realize that was just one question. You have a lot to say, Marazhai. What happened to you after the trial?
I was handed over to the witch cult to do with as they wished. First, they made me fight the dregs in the arena, and then, once they had had their fill of my debasement, I was granted entry into the blood-stained proselytes.
What did you hope to gain by agreeing to become a proselyte? You not find much favor among the witches, it seems. Yeah. What did you hope to gain?
The continuation of my existence. When I lost my standing, I became fair game for anyone tempted by the prospect of slaying a disgraced Cabalite, for vengeance or just for the pleasure of the kill. In Komorra, a lone Drukhari is a target. My talents may be prodigious, but I held no illusions about my chances.
So he just wanted a group that would also protect him. You did not find much favor among the witches, it seems.
You cannot hope to understand the intricacies of Komorra and how it is structured. We are all each other's allies and worst enemies here. Towers of strength and duplicitous traitors both. The cults have always been half a step below the cabals in the hierarchy, and the witches relished the chance to abuse someone who once looked down on them.
Makes sense. That will do.
If our conversation is finished...
Marazhai impatiently clicks his fingers. Apparently not. There's still lots more options. When given the chance to join me, you took it readily. That surprised me.
I had no intention of ending my days playing the role of meat in the arena. And then you blithely offered me an alliance after what I'd done to you. Why?
Marazhai leans in and locks eyes with you. That is an excellent question. I required help to escape from Komorra. I value good fighters and you are one. You intrigue me. I wanted a pet xenos in my retinue. I've already got one of those. I pitied you or none of your business. I require help to escape from Komorra.
So our interests align. For now.
The for now is the important part. I don't think long-term our interests are going to align. Tell me about Komorra.
The Dark City is the bastion of the Drukhari, the most magnificent of all our strongholds. The cabals, witch cults, and the incubi inhabit the place, with swarms of scourges flying overhead and a myriad of misfits and horrors, including the covens of the homunculi wallowing underfoot. Which do you want to know about?
You are from a Drukhari cabal, correct?
The cabals are the foundation upon which rests the power of the one who rules Komorra, as Drubile Vect. Whether it is a mob of berserkers or an organized cartel, their essence is the same. An army of killers, ready to ravage entire worlds at the behest of their leaders, or to rip out the throats of a neighboring cabal in a war declared by the Archons.
Okay, so... terrible place, got it. I wish to know more about the witch cults.
What more do you need to know that you have not already beheld with your own eyes? They are the mistresses of the arenas, and they're the gladiators who feed the audience in their ravenous agony with exquisite spectacles. Cults often travel to real space on the Cabal's raids to revel in the pain and to capture fresh meat for their arenas.
So, does that mean every witch cult is under a specific cabal? It's not just that cults are under cabals in power, but it seems like the cults are specifically following the orders of cabals, and therefore I assume specific cabals. What are the incubi orders?
The aloof incubi. They dedicate their lives to the art of killing, so much so that they do not plot or chase after delicious torment. All their hatred and longing for suffering are channeled toward perfecting their skill.
Does that mean that the winged enemy that we fought in that story section was probably an incubi? Tell me about the scourges.
Winged Drukhari.
Never mind.
Who have chosen to go through an agonizing process to become such a monstrosity. They escort raiding ships and inflict the first strike on the enemy. In Komorra, these creatures huddled in flocks so that they do not fall victim to the more formidable of their kin.
Okay. Seemed like... because they refer to incubi as being aloof and dedicated to killing. But what we fought was a winged Drukhari. But he didn't seem to be escorting raiding ships. Seemed to be focused on the art of killing. So, feels like what we fought was somewhere in the middle. Like, certainly didn't see a flock of them. It was just a solo one fighting us. I don't know. And I'm interested in the homunculi covens.
Artists of the flesh who prefer to hide away in their laboratories and create nightmares from the materials their servants supply. Engines of pain, grotesques, racks, all are the fruits of their subtle craft.
Alright, that will do. Marazhai nods, his eyes boring into you. Any thoughts on how we can escape this place?
On a mountain of bodies, bathing in our enemies' tears and blood. Do not deceive yourself by thinking we will escape this place alive without violence. I, for one, hope that there will be plenty of it.
Marazhai licks his lips.
But there is one unfortunate detail. An Arabenian has stepped into your path, one of Kegarak's tribe, who lurk in the tangle of the webway. I've heard them called harlequins in your tongue. The one that appeared in the Obsidian Court is the most dangerous and unpredictable of all. I'm beginning to think that his visit is a sign that the events unfolding around us have not been left to chance. Perhaps they are the result of interference at the behest of the highest authority.
Yep. We're all in a game of fate, or potentially the highest authority, meaning their leader of all of Komorra, maybe? I don't know. I must take my leave.
Do not keep me waiting too long. My weapon is tired of languishing in its sheath.
Alright. So yeah, if we go to our party now, and we look up Marazhai, he is level 29, so he's at least not that far behind the rest of the party. And he does not count as being anything on the dogmatic, heretical, or iconoclast, which is the same as with Aezyrraesh. She also did not have any points in it. So maybe non-humans don't have ranks? Because all the rest of our party members are very clearly defined at different levels on the scale. But both of our Eldari are not. Yeah, that's what I have to assume. Is that they just don't get points because maybe this is a scale of humans' perspective, and so they just don't fit on it. Alright, class-wise, you are warrior first, so you're melee focused, where she was a soldier? No. She was an operative. And then assassin, which I think is what we made Cabela. Not Pascal. Yeah, he's executioner. Cabela was an assassin, and she's not even here because she wasn't in our party when we were captured, which is interesting that they are putting us in this giant area that we've got to work our way through, but we are missing all of the party members that weren't with us, and they've just cut us off from them for this whole chunk of the game. But I guess that's that. If we go to our journal, yeah, the Gene Stealer cults we know nothing about. Until the circumstances are remedied. Can't do anything with. Yeah, this is where I thought Chapter 3 was going to unfold, is going to Footfall with the other rogue traders and the Inquisition. But no, we're spending at least a bunch of this time here. So yeah, we need to go deal with Koronus at the arena. Killing her is the only way for the Lord Captain to buy precious time to escape the chasm. And the rest of these, I think we can't do anything further with. Last will. The Lord Captain's allies want to meet him in the pit to discuss what to do next. I feel like we've already done that. Did Did that not count? We're in the pit. We just talked to everyone. I'm gonna go around and talk to everyone one more time.
The Emperor.
But I'm guessing... Unless I missed someone. Yeah, sorry about that. Had to sneeze. I'm guessing you don't have anything further to say.
Rogue trader?
Nope.
Do not...
We already talked to Aezyrraesh.
You came back.
Nothing for you. We could talk to the commissar. He might have something to say. Oh, okay. He does in fact have something going on. Whoa, game? Okay. There we go. Wow, the game is freaking out right now. As soon as you walk in, the eyes of everyone in the room turn to you. The commissar barks a command, and the fighters salute you in perfect unison. Glory to House von Valencius. Your Lordship, as you may have read in my memo, your life is in mortal danger. Your series of impressive victories in the arena has incurred the ire of the profane xenos. The witches won't let you emerge from your next fight alive. As true servants of the Imperium, we cannot let that happen. Awaiting your orders. His cap gleaming, the commissar clicks his boots loudly. The only sign that betrays his trepidation is the faint trembling of his hands. I've seen you, you poisonous gnat, leading your comrades to their death in the arena. But now you're willing to stand with the Aezyrraesh against all of Camorra, to suffer what is certain to be a gruesome and agonizing death. You are still an unworthy scoundrel, of course, but you have chosen an honorable way out. All I did was win another fight. What makes it so significant? Requires dogmatic votary. Warriors of the Imperium. The God Emperor's gaze is upon us, here and now. I am ready to meet my death face to face, for I know that he watches over me. What about you? Will you disgrace yourselves in his eyes, or will you fight and prevail? Here are your orders. Wait. I do not intend to die at the hands of the xenos. Once I've destroyed them and found a way to escape, I shall return and take you with me. That's the more iconoclast thing, because if we send them in with us, they will die. Almost certainly. But no orders to give. If you are true sons and daughters of humanity, the Emperor will show you the way, not I. Also a fair statement. This gives us Commissar's note. A hastily scribbled note saying, you've pissed off the witches big time, you won't escape their fury. We need a plan. Meet me at the pit, the Emperor protects, Commissar. Oh, we already gained that note. So is it saying that this option is available because we had that note? I don't know. I'm ready to meet my death face to face, for I know that he watches over me. What about you? Will you disgrace yourselves in his eyes, or will you fight and prevail? The crowd's fierce and inspired roar. We did gain the Commissar's note. Pretty sure we already had that. The crowd's fierce and inspired roar deafens you. You see the glowing eyes of the people who have gathered here. This fire craves to be released so that it may consume any and all enemies of humanity who dare to stand in the way of the Emperor's devout servants. As you observe the crowd, the Commissar's gaze jumps out at you. For the first time since you met him, his eyes are filled with genuine righteous fury, without a trace of falsehood or mockery. Cool. You can count on us, your lordship. Our best chance of gaining the upper hand is to hit them with a surprise attack. You are the man who triumphed over the blood-stained proselytes. It shouldn't be much of a challenge for you to last long enough in the arena until we can strike our enemy when they least expected. Good luck to you, your lordship. The Emperor protects. Okay, yep, so that's the completion of Last Will. I'm gonna go talk to the Commissar again, see if he has anything further to say. Comrades, salute the rogue trader. Nope, nothing new to say. So, yeah, we just need to survive in the fight until he can turn the tides. Which should be fine. Do I want to bring Abelard or Marazhai? Not really. Oh, I didn't realize we were that high up in level. was like, we're basically at just over 30, right? But no, I guess, was it 36 that we got our new archetype? Maybe? In which case he is super far down. I don't feel like leveling him up. I've got a crew that's pretty good. Arguably I could put Abelard in for Ulfar, but I kind of want to keep using Ulfar for a while. Just to see how that turns out. It's not often we get a Space Marine on our team. And again, we're going in injured because we can't go to the ship to get healed. And there wasn't any other form of healing around.
Victory awaits!
But yeah, I think we are actually getting close to leaving this place, which will be cool. Oh, you are someone new? Are you not? We can't interact with you. Okay. I assume that we would need to talk to you or something. Let's toss down a save just in case. You never know. Ah, now you want to talk. Got it. An unfamiliar monster, even more terrifying than the previous one of the homunculus' servants, bars your way. Its voice is as dry as death itself. Master Tervantius sent me. The Master wishes for you to send Koronus on a swift journey to She Who Thirsts. Do not expect a fair fight. This is your execution. However, Koronus is incapable of adequately assessing whatever she fails to comprehend, and therefore you stand a chance, albeit a negligible one. Should you survive, do not return here. The witches will seek revenge, which is why the Master has already left the chasm and found new patrons. He suggests you do the same. So says the Master. The monotony and accuracy with which the monster repeats Tervantius' words remind you of the way servitors communicate. So we have been thrown to the witches. Even if we survive this fight, we will not survive the retribution of the Dark City. I hope the Albanian knows exactly how his play is going to end. Will you go to your master now? I attack, I cannot resist the pleasure of killing you. Or say nothing and turn away from the monster. Will you go to your master now? The master doesn't need me anymore. I'll go kill someone, get their pieces, and make myself stronger. Alright. Have fun. Say nothing and turn away from the monster.